What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Supergirl, Season 1, Episode 10, Childish Things. That's right. I got the episode number right, and I got the name of the episode. I'm becoming more official, man. Now, if only I had a better camera. Anyway, one of the things I want to talk about really fast before I forget again, it's something that's bothered me for quite a few weeks now. The opening. You see a lot of shows, you start to notice which ones have good openings, which ones have bad openings, and which ones just have openings that really want to make you just punch somebody. This is the latter. Just way too long. You have the opening with her talking about, when I was young, my parents sent me to Earth to protect my cousin, but then I got knocked off course, and then by the time I got here, he was already an adult, he had already become Superman. And now, I'm with that whole thing, which takes like a good 30 seconds to get through. And then you have previously on Supergirl. And you have to sit through another 30 seconds of that. And I'm almost checked out every single time. And let me explain why this is frustrating. You have to have a good opening to catch the viewer's attention. For instance, you've got two other superhero shows that I do enjoy. You've got Gotham and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Both of them don't even really have an opening. They have previously on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or previously on Gotham, and they talk about what's happened before, and then they go into the show, and then they have like the opening sequence, and then they have the title come at you. Which, yeah, it sounds similar, and it kind of is, but Gotham has like this little theme to it. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just has like this, when it comes flying at you, it sounds cool. And so, those are good openings, nothing really gripping, but they're good, it's something you can identify. You've got some shows like Elementary, NCIS, Criminal Minds, they've got their little opening theme songs, something that you can remember by. Criminal Minds especially just has that like creepy and you're just like, oh, this sounds creepy, I'm ready for creepy serial killer stuff. So this opening, not only is it not identifiable, it's just so drawn out and long that it makes me want to stop watching in the first minute of the show, because the first minute is nothing but her talking, her narrating about being Supergirl, and then previously on Supergirl. They need to change it. They need to either get their own little theme song, or they need to have her narration be what's happened previously on Supergirl. That way they don't have to say what happened first and then what happened previously, because then it just feels like it's just too much. I just want to get into the show. That being said, this episode kind of feels like a little bit of a step back. I've been talking about how it's been getting better, and it has, but this episode kind of took some of the stuff that frustrated me at the beginning of the season and brought some of that stuff back into it. And if you did not see my the first 3 episodes reviews, go back and watch those really quick, or at least get a general gist of what I'm trying to say. Because they brought in all the stupid relationship stuff again. And when I say stupid relationship stuff, I don't mean like, stuff that's been going on between Kara and Wynn for the past couple episodes. That's been interesting. They brought her and Wynn into the center of it, and they have James and Lucy Lane in the center of it. It's so much of a focus it feels like that's where the majority of this episode was focused around, were their relationships. The way they set it up, the way that they edited it or whatever, it made those relationships feel like they're more important than what's going on elsewhere. Like, what was going on right there? They had something with Maxwell Lord and Alex, and they were talking about, or she was talking to Jean Johns about something, and then they cut away from that quickly, kind of in the middle of what's going on there, to talk about James and Lucy Lane and what's going on with her possibly getting a job at Catco and all of this stuff. And that became a bigger deal than what was just being talked about. And if it had been cut away for like 30 seconds while they talked about the possibility of her working there and what that means for them, that would have been fine. But it goes on for a good 2 to 3 minutes where I'm just sitting there going, I hate this. I hate both of you. You both suck. I hate both of your characters. I really do. And it's frustrating for me because I want to enjoy the show. I want to get to enjoy it, and I was starting to get into it. And then this episode comes along and just says, we're going back. Now that being said, that stuff was annoying and did distract from a bit of it. But the story with Wynn and his father is very well done. And the reason I say that is because he's talked about his father before. And, I heard about Wynn being, the toy maker, villain, something like that. And so whenever the opening scene happens with them in the jail, and then they go in there and there's a toy sitting in there talking, I'm just like, ooh, is this? And then he escapes in the dumbest way possible. Like, it makes prison guards look like idiots. Oh no, he's on the floor. Let me just open this without any help whatsoever. Hey, are you okay? I'm not even gonna call for help because I'm so dumb. And then he just puts on the guard's clothes. The guard comes out and he's just like, hey, something wrong in there? You took forever. Hey, how come you're white now when you were black before? Hey, maybe I should start thinking this through. Oh, I'm not gonna call out for help either because I'm so dumb. And then he starts walking towards the entrance, and they're just like, hey, what's going on back there? Oh, I'm not calling for help either. And he escapes. I've seen way too many prison escapes happen that way. Like, just killing a few guards, and somehow he's out. Which is kind of typical of DC if you think about it. I mean, think about how many of like Batman's enemies always escape from prison. So I guess DC prison guards are just idiots. So he escapes, and I'm thinking, okay, so this is obviously a toy maker, because he's killing people with a yo-yo. That's pretty cool. That's the thing. Like, it's such a mixture of dumb because the guards are idiots, but cool because he's killing them with a freaking yo-yo that has spikes coming out of it. I want one of those. Like, just, what'd you say about me? Say it again. I don't know. It's just like my nerd side, just like, I want to kill people with yo-yos. Anyway. So whenever that was going on, I'm thinking, okay, so there's a lot of potential for this, and they really do a lot with it. Pretty much everything that I was hoping they would do, they ended up doing. When struggling with this fact of, this is my dad, what if I become like him? What if that moment that he had happens to me? And the relationship between him and Kara has been kind of strained recently. And so it's kind of nice to see that I want to say they used it to effectively because, like I said, it got a little distracting at times. But I think this was a good moment to have a bit more about it. I think what made it too much was having James and Lucy going through their bullcrap drama. That may be what makes this feel like it was uncalled for. Because in all honesty, this is where I want to see more about their relationship. This is where I want to see more about what's going to happen next for them. Because this is the type of stuff that he's dealing with. I mean, he even says at the end about, if this were, before everything happened with my dad, if this were before then, I would have just said nothing about the kiss and just pretend like it never happened. But I can't just keep my emotions bottled up anymore and possibly end up like my dad. That's good character building. That is good character drama for him. It's just putting the James and Lucy stuff in there makes it feel so crowded with the relationship stuff that it almost makes this feel like it wasn't good. And it was. And that's what's frustrating about the show. It's like they don't know when to play their cards. They play so many of their trump cards way too early, and so they're kind of left with nothing. So anyway, that was something else that kind of distracted. Was just how it should have been good, but it wasn't as good as it could have been with the relationship between them. But I guess they could have done a bit more between Win and his dad. They had the moment where he finally kidnaps him and he's telling him what to do. They could have done a bit more there. They could have taken out the James and Lucy stuff and added more time into Win and his father and kind of them talking about what happened, discussing something about their relationship. But they don't really, everything that he says to Kara doesn't get said to his dad, and it's stuff that I want to see them talk about. It's stuff that I want to see them work out. Just as far as like, you ruined my life. His dad's just like, this guy ruined our life. We're gonna kill him. And Win doesn't even really talk back about it. He doesn't even try to fight that. He's just like, what? You want to kill him? And it's just like, dude, tell him what you just told Kara. Tell him about how he ruined your life. He needs to know this stuff. He's obviously crazy. Try to talk to him about some stuff. But they don't. They just... like I said, most of the time was spent talking about James and Lucy, which I don't really care about, to be honest. I mean, it's stupid stuff. I'm going to talk about that in a second, by the way. But, overall, it was okay. It really was a good moment to have stuff about Win and his dad. A really good episode to put it all in there. So, the James and Lucy stuff. There are two reasons why this really frustrates me, besides the fact that it takes away from all of the good stuff. One, Lucy is adding something that they took away from the show. And I was so glad they finally did. And she's adding it back in. And it's frustrating because I really, really hate the bullcrap girl power stuff. And before feminists jump on my comments and start telling me that I'm a horrible man, I'm talking about whenever a show has a female lead character and tries to point out the fact that she is a female. This show started off doing that. It started off doing the whole, she is a woman, not a girl. You need to show her respect because she's a woman. It started off with that. It had a bunch of fight song came on, another couple girly girl songs came on. But then they kind of stopped. They kind of shied away from that. They just accepted, who cares if it's a girl? Who cares if it's a guy? It's a superhero. Let's hear about a superhero. Who cares about gender? Nobody should care about gender at this point. I know some people do, but who really cares? Let's just tell a story about a superhero who is dealing with all this stuff. That was great. But now they're bringing all the girl power stuff back in with Lucy. Something, at the beginning talking about Cat Grant, talking to her, and they're talking about, women and, you're a strong, powerful woman and all that stuff. And then she's looking up stuff on the computer and she's just like, 90% of Catco's businesses are run by women. And it's just like, could you stop? Could you stop, please? Like, women are awesome. I love women. But you really don't have to keep, women are great, women are great, women are great, women are great. You don't have to keep throwing it back in their faces over and over and over again. I get it. I get what you're trying to say. Women, Catco, powerful women. Yeah, I get it. And it's been thrown in my face so much that I'm sick of it at this point. And to see it back in the show, in the form of Lucy, no less, is even more frustrating because I already don't like Lucy as a character because she was clearly thrown in as a plot device at the beginning because of the whole James and Kara thing. She was just there thrown in because James needed his, to do the whole love triangle thing. They needed to have James looking at her and Kara looking at James and then Win looking at Kara. So, that was just really frustrating to have her in there for that reason. And so now to have her back in to kind of throw in the girl power aspect yet again is even more frustrating. So that's one reason. That's one reason that I don't like everything that's going on with them. The second reason is because it's such a cliche thing to have, oh, Kat just offered me a job, so we're going to be working together. Do you think we should? Well, I think you should take the job. Well, I didn't ask for your permission. It's that same stupid bullcrap storyline of working together. Should we do it? Oh, you didn't answer fast enough. That upsets me. Now we're gonna fight about it. And then they're gonna make up at the end, and then everything's gonna be fine. They're gonna be working together, and then they're probably gonna have arguments later because they're working together. I hate this storyline. I really do. It happens so much in TV shows. Okay, working together maybe not. Living together is normally what it is. Should we start living together? What if we don't like each other as much if we're living together? Should we make such a big leap in our relationship? Should we make this change in our relationship? We know that they're going to do it. We know that there are going to be arguments. We know that they're going to make up in the end. And if it's not a relationship that it's meant to be, well, it's not going to work out. And that's likely what's going to happen here. And I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that we're having to see even more of this crap. Because I'm sick of seeing so many cliches in one freaking show. So, that's my frustration with Lucy and James. I think they're just pointless drama thrown into the show for no reason other than Kara needs some reason to be upset at something else. So, that was frustrating. I'm going to talk about some of the good stuff now, because I feel like I keep beating on the show a lot. Time to talk about some of the good stuff. Kat is really starting to grow on me. I know I just talked about the girl power stuff with Lucy, but that was more Lucy. When she's talking to Kara about can we set up an interview and stuff, she's just really funny sometimes, because at times you feel like she really does care, and then she says something so it sounds heartless when you think about it. It's like you sound like you're kicking Wynn while he's down. She has so many of these moments that it's kind of become funny to me, which I know sounds terrible, but her character's grown on me a lot. And more stuff this episode, making fun of the whole Wynn thing and all of that, and I don't know, that was funny. The stuff going on with Maxwell Lord is getting interesting, but there's a lot of strange decisions made by characters right now in this episode. You've got Jean-Jean's shape-shifting into him while Alex is taking Maxwell Lord out to dinner to distract him. So he's pretending to be him, tries to use the DNA scanner, which obviously doesn't work. So he phases through the door, which at first I was like, hang on. So he can phase through objects now? When was this discussed? And then a guard comes in after he's taken some pictures, asks him a ton of questions that obviously he can't answer because he's not the real Maxwell Lord. So he takes him down, and then he shape shifts back into Hank Henshaw, and then wipes his memory, which I was like, hang on. What? First of all, why would you shapeshift back into Hank Henshaw if you wanted to hide your identity? And second, you can wipe memories now? And you wiped his memory when you could have just stayed Maxwell Lord and knocked him out? And then they're talking about, he wiped all the security cameras, and then there's a secret one that somehow caught him going in, but somehow didn't catch him going out. Okay. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe they had stuff from before he wiped it. I stopped paying attention because I was kind of confused about some of that stuff. But I do like the fact that this is becoming a bigger deal, because I really got upset after the whole bombing thing, the bombing episode where he blackmailed a guy into bombing all these places, and the Supergirl found out, and then he pretty much admitted to it without really admitting to it, and Supergirl was just like, this isn't over, flies away. I'm just like, dude, take him to jail. I like that he's actually becoming a bigger threat now, which of course they throw in the cheesy little, he's just a nerd with a god complex, I'm sure I have nothing to worry about, and then it shows the camera, I'm just like, yeah, you underestimated him again, you idiot. But I do like the fact that he's becoming a bigger part of the story. That he's not just I really felt like he was just going to be this stupid villain thrown in that should have easily been stopped, and maybe should have. But it's kind of showing that he has a bit more going on than we originally thought. Um, and I'm really curious about who that girl is and what's going on there. Uh, but anyway, that was curious. I want to see more of that. And then the way that it, the way that they did the ending for Wen's dad, I kind of like at first I was like that was dumb, that was quick and short. But then I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Okay, I can, because the rest of it was kind of she was underestimating him. She was underestimating what he was doing. Um, she just flew in, thought she could just easily take him down, and then he has a secret. He has a plan. He has a hatch that opens up, and it's quicksand. I'm just like, okay, so he's clearly smarter than he looks. And he's clearly more clever than Supergirl because she's just kind of flying in thinking, okay, brute force, and then traps her in a box. Um, and then there's like a little voice, and I'm just like, that's not actually a little girl, is it? You sly dog. And sure enough, she like saves it, opens it up. It's a doll, and I'm like, he got you, he got you. Um, and so, but like I said, at first I was kind of like, this is all really dumb. But then I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? The way they've handled villains in this show has been really stupid. Like, like she said in I think episode 3 or 2 or 3, she said normally I just keep punching until he gives me answers. That normally works for me. That's a dumb way to handle stuff. And that's kind of how things have gone. It's just fight, 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 fight. I'm gonna beat you into submission. This one, she actually had to think about it. She actually had to think to get herself out of the quicksand. She froze it with her breath and then broke out, blew the wood chipper away so that it wouldn't, at least if the box fell to the ground, at least the little girl would have a chance then. Um, and then at the very end, there's 10 bombs. She gets everybody over to her side, sees where all the bombs are, sets off the sprinklers, and then freezes that side of the convention with all of the bombs so that all the bombs explode inside the ice. That's well done. That's a clever way to use your powers and to solve the problem. She's actually having to think now. That's finally. Like, it's not just, let me just beat up this guy and beat up this guy and shoot lasers at this guy and boom, 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 hit, hit, pow, yeah. She's actually having to think her way out of a problem. I like that. Even though the effects are kind of cheesy, even though it's kind of cheesily written the way that she does all of it and the look on her face and all of that stuff, she is actually having to think it through. So that's nice to see that they are at least they're not keeping it the same episode after episode. Um, so that is a good point to focus on. Um, other than that, can't really think of much more to talk about. Just like I said, there are good parts and there are bad parts of this episode, and it felt like the good parts were starting to outweigh the bad parts in the past few episodes. But now the bad parts have started creeping back up, and it's just like, no, don't go bad again. I want you to stay good. I was really starting to enjoy it. But yeah, curious to see some of the other stuff. The previews for next week kind of showed me too much, but that's an issue with most shows nowadays. They show way too much in the previews. But yeah, I mean, still interested to see where it goes. Still interested to see what's going to happen with Kara's aunt. What's going to happen now with her and Win. Because even though the relationship stuff is stupid, I am kind of curious about what's going to happen there. Because he kind of is an unstable... He is in an unstable place right now with his emotions and everything. And so it's kind of like, what is going to happen there? Could this be kind of... Hopefully this is not the reason that he turns evil, if he does. But maybe this is like the start of it. Maybe this is like the catalyst that leads to something else, and then he becomes evil. So, curious to see where that goes. And curious to see how they're going to handle the Maxwell Lord situation. They finally figure out what's going on with the girl down in his vault or whatever. But yeah, so there's at least they've got a bit of mystery to keep me interested in what's going to happen next week and what's going on with this story and stuff like that. So, just please stop with James and Lucy. If you can, kill off James Olsen this season. I'm just kidding. Don't kill him off, but maybe make him go back to the Daily Planet. That's the solution. That way I don't have to look at him anymore and be like, that's not James Olsen. Anyway, that's it for my review. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you think of this episode. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me. I know a lot of people are really enjoying the show. I guess there are people out there that like this type of stuff. But yeah, if you want to yell at me, that's fine. I can take it. But leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more Supergirl content and check out some other videos for other TV shows, reviews, stuff. God, I'm tired. Okay. I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace out.